And welcome to RTF Sports Talk. I am Michael Buckheister. I am the host of the show today. We've been off for a little while, a couple weeks. I finally got my voice back. I'm finally excited to get back in the driver's seat here. And RTF is going to take a little bit of different direction here the next few months, guys. Previously we've kind of been a debate show with Billy and Matt, and now we're kind of just going to sit back and we are going to become just a chit-chat, have a good time. An hour and a half time frame here, just to have a good time. And speaking of a good time, I want to welcome a special guest here, Marcus, to the show. Marcus will be joining us on RTF Sports Talk here full time here for the next few months here. So Marcus, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, Michael. How you doing? I hear you had a long night.
Yeah,
are you awake?
It's definitely very, very hard working nights, but it is what it is, and the grind doesn't stop. It's always grind time, as the Cowboys I like to say. So before we get too started, Marcus, tell people a little about yourself. Who are you? Who are your teams, and what are you all about, man?
Well, if anybody wants to reach me, they can find me on Facebook, author Marcus Valdespino. I wrote my autobiography a couple years back. It's at Barnes & Noble bookstores and Amazon websites. I'm on Twitter, Marcus the Freak. I was called the Sports Freak a few years back. I was on local talk radio here in San Antonio for about 4 years. So I'm just getting back into the flow of things here, being on radio. I fill in sometimes on ESPN radio here in San Antonio. Teams, Cowboys, Houston
love.
Texans. Yeah, absolutely. San Antonio Spurs, Texas Longhorns. I'm San Antonio, so I represent Texas pretty well. I don't like the Rockets, and I don't like the Mavericks, obviously, because I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan. But other than that, I root for usually all the Texas teams, Michael.
Well, there we go. So, Marcus, if Billy Hatton was like on the show, Billy is a Cowboys hater. Billy absolutely hates everything about the Cowboys, and I feel we would have a really good show once Billy comes back on here. And I cannot wait to get the crew back together and, joining one more here.
Well, that's the Cowboys. You either love them or you hate them. They're it's like half the country. That's why they'll be 5-11 and they'll lead off Sports Center. I can see why people would hate that, but yeah, Cowboys love them or hate them. They're always in the news. They're always in the spotlight, and they haven't been to an NFC Championship since I was in my teens.
Yeah, I think the last time we won the Super Bowl, I want to say I was like 14, maybe 15 years old. So, yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying there.
I was 21, yeah.
So we got Cowboys, Texans, you said, San Antonio Spurs. And just to reiterate my allegiance, yes, I'm wearing a Cowboys hat today, but Kansas City Chiefs are my number one team because I'm from Kansas. So, just like you, I rep my state. I'm Kansas City Chiefs, Kansas State Wildcats, and Royals all day long. Ever tread on those, I'm going to tread on you. That type of thing.
Right.
So with that being said, we do have a Final Four matchup that is finally set here. Since we've been gone, the NCAA tournament has been in full swing here, and the Final Four is finally set. We have Virginia, Texas Tech, Auburn, Michigan State. Marcus, what do you think about this Final Four? Obviously my bracket had none of these teams in it. First of all, how is your bracket looking? Is it pretty messed up?
My bracket was done when Gonzaga lost.
Oh.
But I did have Auburn in there and in the championship game. Mm-hmm. So I loved Auburn mainly because Harper, the point guard, 5'11", can do multiple things. He's a leader, and you saw that what Harper could do a couple of days ago. That guy is phenomenal. So I did have Auburn in there. Other than that, my bracket's done. Had Gonzaga cutting the nets down, but that got ruined. It's amazing. We're a couple of seconds away from, Diakite made that final shot for Virginia.
Right.
If he doesn't make that shot, and if the freshman point guard doesn't have the headiness to find Diakite for that game-winning shot, we'll have no number one seeds in the tournament. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Virginia's the only number one seed, and there's no star power in this Final Four.
Yeah. So speaking of star power, like Auburn and Texas Tech, this is their first Final Four in school history, and they are the second and third Under Armour team to ever make it to the Final Four. So with this Final Four the way it is, I want to say Michigan State is probably the only one that people maybe have truly thought had a chance of going far. I did see some crazy stat where only 8,000 brackets of the 100,000 that were made had this Final Four, and I feel like the people that made this Final Four were kind of on the fence, and they were just picking teams just to pick teams at like some point. But with this Final Four set, Marcus, like I want to ask you first. Do you think this Final Four hurts the tournament as a whole because you don't have the big teams in there? Like you don't have Duke with Zion. You don't have UNC with all their history. You don't have Kentucky with possibly the second best player in the country, and you don't have Kansas that they're the Big 12. They've run the Big 12 for the last 14 years. So do you think this Final Four hurts the NCAA tournament as a whole?
That's a good question. Having Zion in the Final Four, having Duke in the Final Four, obviously I think that would have garnered more ratings. But man, there's people that love college basketball. I mean, there's people that don't pay attention to the NBA because they don't want to talk about the salaries NBA players are getting, and they just love college athletics. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters who's in the Final Four in terms of the way everybody wants to watch it, the drama that entails in the Final Four. I know we had that Loyola Chicago, their miracle run last year, but man, college basketball is something else. It comes down to last shots, last possessions. Refs are involved big time, which I kind of hate. Sometimes they stop the game, seems like every 5 seconds, but I still think it's going to get a lot of ratings because it is the Final Four. Even though you don't have the super powerhouses in it. Like you mentioned, Michigan State, a lot of people would have them in their bracket. Virginia is a number 1 seed. I thought they would choke it away. They almost did. So I didn't have them in the Final Four. But, yeah, I still think it's going to garner the ratings. But, yes, to answer your question, if North Carolina and Duke were in it, probably be a little bit more excitement. But other than that, I still think it's going to get a lot of ratings. People love the Final Four. They love the drama. And here we go. And the way the NCAA does it, Saturday 2 games and Monday you get that single game with nobody else. There's no NBA games scheduled. I think there'll still be a lot of people watching the championship game Monday night and Saturday.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I definitely agree that people will watch it, but I'm going to say people are going to passively watch this game. I don't really see people tuning in to have like a rooting interest. Like obviously the Texas Tech fans, Auburn fans, Michigan State fans are like they'll be rooting for their teams 100%. But I caught myself because like I am a Kentucky fan, like my wife's a Kentucky, like I'm an inherited Kentucky fan because my wife and family and all that stuff. So after the Kentucky game, we actually had a rooting interest in the Duke-Michigan State game just because, we hate Duke, so we were rooting for Michigan State.
Yeah.
And now that the team that we quote-unquote hate or dislike is kind of out of the tournament, we really don't have a rooting interest in this Final Four. Maybe we can say Auburn because they beat us to knock us out and they're SEC foes, but at the same time, as a SEC team, we're going to be rooting for the SEC team. Like I feel like the majority of the fan base. Now, who is your college team again?
University of Texas. Okay. I'll be rooting for Texas Tech.
Right.
I know that.
Yeah, because it's Big 12 conference. I mean, like you have to root for your conference.
Right. It's a weird kind of thing because you would think some people are like this of the mindset like I'm not rooting for Texas Tech. They're in our conference. I don't want them to have them as being champions, and we're not champions as the University of Texas. I didn't go to school at Texas. A couple of my brothers did, so they're probably. I don't think they hate Texas Tech more than I do. So I'll kind of root for Texas Tech. It's their Texas team. I don't mind them winning at all. It's not like the NFL where as a Cowboy fan, we don't want the Redskins winning the Super Bowl. That would be ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. But like I see what you're saying, but we as college fans have to look on this other side of the coin. When your conference does well, your team does well because you get more money for recruiting and that kind of thing. It's like, et cetera. And when the next season rolls around and you play Texas Tech twice, you're like, hey, we beat the national champions. Like we have a good shot. Like
Right.
I think that's what most fans, like I put that very, very lightly. Most fans want their conference to win. Now, as far like there are these diehard fans like, oh, F Auburn, F Texas Tech. They hate them, but at the same time, you have to root for your conference. So, just getting back to if this hurts the NCAA, I wouldn't necessarily it hurts them because you have people tuning in to passively aggressive watch the game. Kind of eat some food and kind of just watch it just to watch it. But the rooting interest has gone way down because you don't have those big names in there. You don't have Zion. You don't have what's the Kentucky or the North Carolina's point guard named White. The guy with the fro. And I guess you can call Auburn a Cinderella team. I don't know what falls in that Cinderella category. Do you have to be a certain seed? Do you just have to have a great run? And I think
they look like they're a team of destiny.
Yeah. Matthew Lyle actually just said that we're in a Kentucky podcast as well, and he says Auburn's just a team. They have to play the worst game of their lives to lose this game. Like the ball's gotta be flat or something. So you think this Final Four is not going to hurt the NCAA ratings overall, correct?
No, I don't think so. I think people turn in to see college athletics in the Final Four.
Right. It's
a big deal. It's not maybe as big a deal as the Super Bowl, but I'll tell you right now, the Final Four, gets ratings like sometimes over NBA Finals. So the Final Four is a big deal. And I think single elimination helps that. I mean, you're one and done, the drama, like I mentioned, who knows what's going to happen. That's why sometimes the best teams don't always win, you know, if because 7-game series in the NBA, single elimination in college, that's tough on neutral sites. So you have one bad shooting night, you're done. So that's what makes the intrigue, the excitingness of it, the drama. I don't think it's going to go terrible on ratings at all. And you don't have a small school in there, and I think that actually helps the ratings. There's some big schools in here. I mean, Texas Tech might be the least known school, and they're a Big 12 school with some good players, and they play defense out this world.
Yeah, their defense is very, very good. And it's funny that you brought up the rating systems, like how you said like this game might it does outweigh some NBA Finals game. And I have to echo your point here. I think that is because this is just one game. In the NBA Finals, you can kind of miss the first 3 games and still watch like the series. So
yeah,
let's kind of transition over there. Do you think the NBA playoffs or the NBA season as a whole would be more exciting if the playoffs was like, the NCAA tournament? Like expand it to 16 teams and, just single elimination. It is what it is. Like, do you think that would help NBA or hurt it?
It's about dollars, and makes dollars and cents, and the owners would probably never go for like a 3-game series 100%. Or a 5-game series. They even upped the first round used to be 5-game series, 10 years ago or whenever they made that switch. And it's more pockets, align the owners' pockets with money. It's TV ratings and all that. So they'll never go back to that, any kind of 3-game elimination. I mean, in the NBA, it's tough. I mean, they want the best team to win, and usually the best team wins a 7-game series. Now, I've actually seen there's been a couple of instances where the best NBA team did not win the 7-game series for whatever reason, but that is very few. I'd say 95% of the time, the best team wins a 7-game series. And I think the NBA is just fine the way it is. Now, some people may say the season's too long. That's up for debate. Maybe put it to 66 games or 60 games instead of 82 games. But the playoffs are a marathon. They're a grind. I like the way they are. I love NBA basketball. So I don't think it hurts it at all. It's about who's going to make it to the NBA Finals where that affects the ratings. I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan, and when the Spurs are in it, the ratings don't do as well. But, I don't care about that because I'm a Spurs fan. But, when you have Golden State and Cleveland, LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love versus, Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, those ratings are going to go sky high. So yeah, I don't think the 7-game series or that NBA Finals 7-game series hurts the ratings or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you there 100%. There's something special about a game 7. Yeah, that just kind of makes your tingle. It's just game 7. It's very, very exciting. It is almost like the one game. I mean, like it is a 1-game championship. It just makes it very, very, very exciting. Speaking of your San Antonio Spurs, they are currently a 8 seed out west, and they're slated to play Golden State. Would you rather miss the playoffs, or do you want to get Golden State in the first round? Like, what are your thoughts as a fan here? Like, not being biased or anything, like just to think that, like, just like as a fan, like, would you rather be swept by Golden State or just miss the playoffs in general?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I am never of the mindset of missing playoffs or tanking games. I don't do that tank stuff. The San Antonio Spurs organization, yeah, they try to rebuild with winning, and I just want to make the playoffs. But man, the Spurs cannot get that A seed because that's probably going to play. They're probably going to have to play the Warriors, and that would be doom and gloom. I wouldn't want to see the Warriors, Tyler, the second round or the Western Conference Finals. I would hate to play the Warriors in the first round. And to answer your question, and it pains me to say this because I don't care if I'm the A seed, but the Warriors is just so damn good. It's almost unfair. I probably would rather miss the playoffs than make the A seed, but that's not going to happen because, Sacramento didn't win enough games and the Spurs are pretty much locked into the 7th or 8th seed. The Spurs have to do whatever it takes to get to that 7th seed to play Denver in the first round. Anybody who sees the Warriors in the first round's toast. Even Oklahoma City might push them to 6, but they're going to be toast as well. So, yeah, I mean, the Warriors are something else, man. I mean, they're something like the NBA's never seen. That's a juggernaut there. And then when you add in Boogie Cousins to go along with that lineup already, it's kind of ridiculous. I don't really see anybody beating him. In the Western Conference, I don't see anybody beating him. Eastern Conference, I think Toronto matches up well with Golden State.
So, if the finals were to happen and you had Toronto and Golden State, does Toronto beat Golden State, or they just push them to 6 or 7 games, but Golden State pulls
that's interesting because who's going to have the better record in the end? If Toronto gets that game 7 in the NBA Finals on their home court against the Warriors, that's a 50-50 proposition. But if it's at Oracle, at Golden State in game 7, I think Toronto pushes them to 7. Then the Warriors will probably win that game 7. I'd favor the home team, but yeah, Toronto, that's going to be a nice battle. Who has the better record at the end of the year, Toronto or Golden State, to see who would host that game 7 in the NBA Finals. Remember a couple years ago, I'll never forget the date, June 19th, 2016, and you were just talking about it, Michael, about the drama of a game 7, that Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James team,
yep.
Kyrie Irving hitting that big shot to beat the Warriors. That was about as much drama as you could ever get in an NBA Final. That felt like an NCAA Final Four championship game. Game 7s are magical.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, I remember watching that game, and I was like, did I just see that happening? Like I definitely felt like I saw history playing in my head there. I'm like, what just happened? And I was like, had to sit back and relax. Like, oh, that did just happen. But
yeah, it was great.
But I definitely think you have a unpopular opinion there that Toronto, for one, would push Golden State to 7 games, and 2, Toronto makes it to the finals. Period. I don't really see them making it out of the Eastern Conference, to be honest. The Celtics kind of, they have that veteran, I put that in air quotes, veteran experience. And then they also, and then you have to look at the 76ers. We've trusted the process for a very, very long time, and I think it's finally starting to come together a little bit. Is it a championship caliber team? No. Do not put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. but they could. I think the Eastern Conference is they are just deep enough to beat each other up a little bit. So they're kind of handicapped going into the finals, and I just don't see any Eastern team really challenging the Warriors enough. Maybe 5 games, but I don't see 6 or 7, to be honest. It's just like what you said. The Warriors are just too good. They're too deep, and just they are on a mission before they break up at the end of the year.
Yeah, they're on a mission to win that 4th championship. I agree. I mean, when Kevin Durant made the move to go to Golden State, I mean, I thought it was a punk move. I don't necessarily always agree with Stephen A. Smith all the time, but he came out right away and said it's a punk move. And it was a punk move. It's the most punk move by an NBA superstar ever. I mean, Dr. J didn't join the Lakers to beat the Celtics. I mean, you don't have to go back that far. Kevin Durant didn't join the Spurs. Kevin Garnett didn't join the Spurs, to help get a championship. Dirk Nowitzki didn't join the Spurs. Tim Duncan didn't join whoever. So, yeah, that was a punk move by Kevin Durant to do that. He basically made the Warriors unbeatable. They were close to winning championships without him, and now they're almost unbeatable. You had Boogie Cousins. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's probably nobody going to beat them. I just think that Toronto.
Hang on one second. Before you trail off that topic, you said him joining the Golden State Warriors was a punk move, but then you can look at LeBron James when like he joined the Heat. That move there was kind of the same. And I am a LeBron James fan. I root for the teams that he's just like he is on. I've never really had a NBA team per se until this year. I'm rooting for the Indiana Pacers, a hometown team, that kind of thing. But you can say when Bosh and LeBron James joined the Heat, that's kind of a punk move too, because they quote unquote started the super team era right there. Like, do you agree with that at all?
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, LeBron James wasn't going to win in Cleveland. I mean, you saw what he took Cleveland to everything that they could do. I mean, they weren't. I guess maybe they weren't interested in getting him the right players. So I mean, he had to do something, otherwise he would have never won a championship. Kevin Durant had the Golden State Warriors down 3-1 when he was with OKC. He was already playing with a couple of really good players, Russell Westbrook and Serge Ibaka, and they had the Warriors beat. I mean, Cleveland didn't have anybody beat. LeBron didn't have it wasn't like he was at the cusp of winning a title and had the Spurs down 3-1, and then joined the Spurs. So I understand what you're saying about, LeBron kind of started the super team thing, but I just don't equate it with the Kevin Durant thing. I don't think it's the same thing. LeBron joined a Miami Heat team that won 47 games. Kevin Durant joined a Warriors team that won 73 games. So that's a little different.
So let me ask you this. It is pretty much speculated that Kevin Durant will be leaving the Golden State Warriors at the end of the season and go to either New York or LA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If Kevin Durant were to join with LeBron James in LA, is that another punk move because he joined LA? Because he is with probably the greatest player in our lifetimes. So would that be another punk move? Because because what LA's won 32 games like this year. They're not very good.
It wouldn't be a punk move because LA's bad. I don't even know why LeBron went to the Los Angeles Lakers organization. They're not winning anything. And he should have been, if he was going to go to Los Angeles, he should have been guaranteed he was going to go with another superstar. Kevin Durant, I don't think wants to join LeBron, to be honest. I don't see that happening. I don't think it'd be a punk move. Yeah. But for Kevin Durant to regain his legacy, because let's be honest, his legacy's been damaged. I don't care how many rings he wins. Look at how he acts. Anybody that ever challenges him and stuff. He's very thin-skinned. The fake burner accounts and stuff like that, man. He knows that he made a wrong decision. He knows deep down inside he made a punk move, Michael. So to regain his legacy, Durant, he would have to go to an organization that hasn't won since before we were born, like the Knicks or something like that. And if he was to join Kyrie in the Knicks organization and they were to get the number 1 or number 2 pick or get Zion Williamson and then he takes the Knicks to the finals and maybe wins it, he would regain his legacy. I'm telling you right now, that would be that would be better for him if he did something like that.
And then like if you were to join the Knicks with Kyrie, I'm sure some other people would like follow suit there, and then they do get RJ Barrett or Zion like the first overall pick. I mean, like
Right.
that is Miami Heat when LeBron James and Bosh and Wade were all there all over again. So start of another super team. You know, like you can say that, you know, the Knicks would be the Golden State Warriors because, you know, like I personally feel after this year, Golden State is not going to be what we've grown to know them over the last 5 or 6 years. You know, I think all their stars are over 30 years old now at this point. They
Right.
lose KD. I don't think Cousins stays there either. And then possibly Draymond Green could be possibly out as well. So, I mean, I think if KD goes to the Knicks, like I think he is kind of in the same boat he is in now because he will be bringing other stars there. He will bring in Kyrie, or I'm trying to think of the other name that's been linked to him going to the Knicks as well. But I don't think he can really tarn it or save his legacy really like at all. To be honest, you know, once he left OKC, that put such a bitter taste in most fans' mouth that like I just don't think there's any recovery from that. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there isn't, but I mean, just to salvage it a little bit, maybe not regain the whole thing, but salvage it a little bit is to go someplace like the Knicks where they haven't won in 40 years, 45 years, would salvage some of his legacy. And, you know, Kyrie joins them. They get RJ Barrett. They have DeAndre Jordan there, you know, as a shot blocker, rim protector.
Right.
You get RJ Barrett.
And they
then
have Knox from Kentucky.
Absolutely.
There too.
Knox is really good. And Knox is you know, was he 6'8", 6'9", can shoot it, he's athletic. And then I tell you what, if I was them, I would try to coax a Chris Middleton to New York. He's going to be a free agent, but Middleton's probably going to want $150 million. But I would try to convince a Chris Middleton, another shooter out there, that when Durant or Kyrie in trouble, they can throw it to Chris Middleton, Knox. That would be RJ Barrett. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about that's a traveling all-star team right there. So, I mean, you know, he may not be able to regain his whole legacy, like you said, but I think he could salvage it. And I tell you right now, Kevin Durant and Draymond Green, they're coping right now. That's what they're doing. They really don't like each other.
Yeah.
So one of them is going to be gone. So I think if Durant leaves, I think Draymond stays. But if the Warriors are working like crazy to keep Kevin Durant, then Draymond's gone.
Right.
So and I think
that other shooter has been reportedly on the way out too. His name's slipping my mind right now. The 3-point shooter.
Klay Thompson?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Klay Thompson. He has been reported to go to the Lakers. So like if
his father is Klay Thompson's father is a longtime Laker.
Mm-hmm.
He does the Laker broadcast. Michael Thompson, and so Michael Thompson would love for his son to come to the Lakers. Now the Lakers couldn't offer him as much as Golden State, but that's a move that possibly could happen as well. I just don't think all of them are leaving. I mean, you know, Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson have developed a bond, and if Draymond and KD leave, I mean, if you're Curry, you call Klay and say, hey, man, Kevin Durant and Draymond are leaving, or Kevin Durant's leaving, you stay, man. We can still win titles even without Durant. I don't know if Klay Thompson can look in the face of Stephen Curry and leave. Tell him, hey, man, I'm gone. But that's something to think about. Lakers getting Klay Thompson, you know, his father's there. They have ties there. That's a nice fit.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson with LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to get too carried off into this rabbit hole, but we've done it before. It's probably going to happen again here. So, I mean, like, my thoughts on a super team, I think it kind of hurts the NBA. It hurts the drama in the playoffs. Because let's be honest, if you are not picking Golden State to win the NBA Finals, you have gone in the future. You've seen something happen, and you've come back.
Right.
there might be some couple diehard Toronto fans like, yeah, we can really beat them, which, you know, they do have a chance. But let's be honest, we don't think it can happen. Does this super team hurt the NBA, or does it, you know, kind of help it? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
It hurts it, Michael, because think about this. Let's just say, hypothetical, Kevin Durant never joins the Warriors. Mm-hmm. The Warriors will still be fine. They may not destroy everybody. They probably would not even have beaten Cleveland again. Or that would have gone to a 7-game series instead of Golden State just destroying Cleveland because they got Kevin Durant and they had just too many people to guard for Cleveland. But let's just say Kevin Durant never went to the Warriors. Okay, he stays with OKC. They were a couple of possessions away from burying the Warriors. They were up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. They can add more pieces. Sam Presti's a good GM. Durant should have never left there. Then now Paul George doesn't find his way to Oklahoma City. Paul George probably in free agencies with LeBron right now. So it would have made the whole NBA powerful. You'd had Paul George right now signing in free agency, or the past year, or Lakers would have traded for him. Paul George would have joined up with LeBron James. They wouldn't have had a 35-win season or whatever they have. They'd be challenging. Oklahoma City would be better because they would be challenging. The Warriors wouldn't be as dominant. They would come back to the pack. It would make things so much more evenly balanced if Kevin Durant had not joined the Warriors. That was like a trickle-down bad effect, and it made everybody scramble. It made Paul George get traded to OKC. Everything just happened bad after that, after KD left, and it made the Warriors almost invincible. I think it's been bad for the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hear everything you're saying, but you can say the same thing about the Rockets last year too. They were a injury away from beating the Golden State Warriors to go to the finals. So, I mean, like, KD definitely changed the landscape of the NBA too. But there's still some pretty good solid teams out out there. The Rockets aren't horrible, but like this year they really just haven't really found their groove. But you need to look at my Indiana Pacers here. If Kevin Durant wouldn't have left OKC, I don't think Paul George leaves Indiana, to be honest, because Indiana is still a relevant team with a very, very young core. Like at that point, I think at that point Oladipo. It was his second year in the league. You know, he's still a very, very young face, still building. And I think Indiana says, "Hey, Paul George, this is your team. Who do you want? We're going to the top."
No, you're right. Paul George probably doesn't leave Indiana if Kevin Durant does. But I was just giving you a hypothetical that if he did, he would go there. He would have joined LeBron in LA. That would have still been a possibility. But yeah, I mean, why would you leave Indiana? Why would you leave Miles Turner? That guy's a 6'11", can hit threes, can play in the post. That guy does everything. I love Miles Turner. I would have probably, if you're Paul George, you just keep on with Indiana and you develop a championship team. That would have been feasible as well.
Yeah, and and I like what I do like what Paul George did in Indiana. I don't think he fits well in Oklahoma City. I think after his couple years is done in Oklahoma, he is out of there as well. I'm not for sure where he goes. Does he join a super team in the Knicks or maybe back to Indiana? But I definitely don't see him staying in Oklahoma longer than his. I think he has a 3-year deal if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, maybe he joins Kawhi Leonard with the Clippers because I think Kawhi Leonard probably is going to go to the Clippers after this season. It's possible he could stay in Toronto, but hell, if he left San Antonio, he can leave Toronto. So maybe Paul George will join up with Kawhi Leonard at the Clippers.
And speaking of him, he has definitely said he wants to be in LA and he wants to be the focal point on the on the team. And Lakerland he won't be the focal point by any means. So it's got to be Clippers at the end of the day there.
Yeah.
So before we switch off the NBA, did you hear about the news about the former Knick power forward and the alleged rape charge?
Yeah, Kristaps Porzingis. That is weird. And
Yeah.
is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, that was weird because the woman said that it happened on the night he tore his ACL. Which, listen, I'm not going to doubt the woman's claims. I don't have all the facts, but that would seem a little weird. The guy, if you have your ACL torn and your MCL torn, maybe even his PCL, his knee was in bad shape that night. I don't know what the heck you're doing.
I think that's the last thing on my mind is getting some ass. I think that's the last thing on my mind.
Right. Even your wife, you don't even probably want to be with your wife. You just want to just lay in the bed and just have her. Hopefully, she brings you some things. You know what I mean? You're 100% right, Michael. That's the last thing on your mind. Listen, but I'm not going to doubt the woman's claims. There was some text messages going back and forth. Kristaps wanted to pay her off $68,000 or something like that. So obviously, there's something there. It's just a weird situation. You can let all the facts play out on that. 68,000 seems a little light.
Right.
If a woman, really gets raped, and I don't really want to judge that to a certain extent, but 68,000 seems a little light, like hush money. Wouldn't you want to take that to trial and have them arrested and stuff? But
there are a few red flags here. Okay. First of all, he has her phone number, obviously, and willing to pay her off. So, I mean, I'm not. People are going to take this the wrong way 100%. But if I were to go rape a girl, I would not have her phone number. I would not be in contact with her after the said deed is done. For one, common sense tells you leave that situation alone. If something like that happened, I mean, I'm not condoning that at all.
All right.
Whatever. I just want to be on the record with that 100%. I don't do that kind of thing at all. But I feel like if you were to do that, you would not continually to talk to that person.
And just look at it from the woman's perspective. If that happened to your wife, I have daughters, and if I heard my daughters were on the phone and they said that a man raped them and that it was $68,000 hush money, I would tell my daughters to hang up the phone immediately and we're going to the police.
Yeah, exactly. You would not have contact with that person,
no,
at all. And
we're not going to be involved in that foolishness. No,
right. And this, I've done a podcast about this a while ago. The name's slipping my mind right now, but this girl alleged 4 times that this guy beat her, and all 4 times the case was thrown out of court. And now this guy doesn't have a job in the NFL because of this. His name's slipping my mind right now.
Well, there was a Baylor player, Sean Oakman.
Yep.
That was
right.
That he was acquitted of all charges, and I hope that Sean Oakman now gets a chance to play at the NFL. The guy was 6'8", 290 pounds.
Yeah.
He was a monster player.
I believe he was projected as a top 5 pick. I hope he gets a shot. I believe he was projected as a top 5 pick. And then
at least first round. Yeah. He was a big man. Yeah.
And then these rape allegations came out, and nobody wanted to touch him at all. And and just to give some backstory.
Hey Michael, that happened close to us. Our Cowboys. That happened to La'el Collins.
Yeah.
He's a late first round pick, and he doesn't get drafted. He loses probably $20-30 million. And the kindness of Jerry Jones, which I have my problems with Jerry Jones, but this was really a good act on the part of Jerry Jones to give that man an opportunity right away.
Yeah, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up was because, we are men, and if we were to get alleged something like this would happen, our lives would be over. And I really hope this is I want this to be true so this woman doesn't get put on blast. But if it's not true, let's say this guy from the Knicks, or he's with the Mavericks now, right?
Yeah, Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah. If he never let's say this hurts him. Mark Cuban's hey, I don't want anything to do with this at all, and he gets cut, and no other NBA team touches him again, and it's not true. This young star, this young man's life is over because of an allegation. This stuff here just needs to stop. If it's not true, because they said this happened over a year ago. Why would you wait a year to go talk to the police? Is it because he's starting to make some more cash? It's because he's starting to be a face of a franchise. Like, why come out a year later? Like, that's my biggest question.
Also, I have a little bit of problem with Kristaps Porzingis too. Like, if you really didn't do anything, and just hypothetical, some woman messaged me and says, "Hey, I need $5,000 because Kristaps is $68,000 was nothing for him." So let's just say some woman says, "I need $1,000 from me or something." I'm gonna say, "You better quit calling me," and I would call the police.
Right.
If I'm completely innocent, I'm not gonna pay this lady $1,000 even though I have it. Kristaps Porzingis has $68,000. Don't pay that if you didn't do anything wrong. I'm not gonna. I can come up with $2,000-3,000 right now to a female. I'm not gonna pay that.
Yeah.
So
Like the whole situation kind of just raises red flags in my eyes, makes me scratch my head, and it kind of infuriates me just a tad bit, because we've seen so many young athletes, so many young men, lives are over because of a alleged, I'm using air quotes, rape charge or sexual battery or assault. Just because they're making a little bit of money, they're like, oh, this happened back in high school, he told me he touched my butt. Like,
yeah.
Because now he is in the NFL or the NBA, you're going to come out and like say it now? Like, come on. Like, if it truly happened, I applaud you for coming out, but don't wait a year. Don't wait 10 years. Go to the court the next day, the next week, even the next month. Do not wait a year. Like, come on.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, just like the minute I saw that, I'm just like, red flag right there. It's been a year. Red flag number 2, $68,000. If you really want to pay hush money, like, hey, here's $1 million. To be honest,
right?
He's making enough cash to give $1 million, maybe $2 million.
Right, and 68,000 seems a little light for a rape or something,
right.
or if you're really abused and you're going after a millionaire. That the courts actually would, if it was civil court and it was true, it would be a much more than $68,000 in a civil court.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I heard that. I kind of wanted to get it off my chest. I think I saw it last week or 2 weeks ago. It's been a minute since it came out, and it's kind of been swept under the rug. Like, not very many people are talking about it, but it is what it is. Switching gears 100% here, Marcus. The AAF, they were our fix for the NFL for this offseason, and I got alert on my phone from the good old ESPN there. The AAF has ceased operations. Apparently that $250 million buyout that they needed a month ago did not hold them over. Maybe because maybe it's the Illuminati like at work here. They Johnny Manziel got a deal, and they're like, nope, not going to happen. So. First of all, did you enjoy the AAF? Did you watch any AAF games?
Oh yeah, I went to the games here in San Antonio. I went to at least 2 of them, and we had the house packed. I mean, it was 30,000 people. It was fun. Yeah, I mean, it's not San Antonio had a good team. I think we're 5-3 as the league folds now. It wasn't San Antonio's fault that the league folded. Right. Our attendance was easily the tops in the AAF. And, man, that was fun to watch. And I just hate that it folded. I don't think this is the end here. I mean, somebody could still save it. They ceased operations. That doesn't mean that it's completely gone. It could come back with some more backing. Maybe even a Jerry Jones could throw some money in there. The problem they had was insurance with players getting hurt. And, they wanted a connection with the NFL, like a minor league system. And if a player gets hurt on the AAF, is it the NFL's responsibility? Their insurance going to cover that player? So it's a little sticky, dicey situation there. It's probably why it folded. I think the AAF could have survived on its own. I don't think they needed the NFL. They could have done well with a league, even a developmental league to the NFL, without directly being the NFL, like being on the NFL's insurance and things like that. So I think they could have survived on its own. And I think was Dundon, the Carolina NHL hockey owner, what did he do? He sunk $250 million in it.
Yep.
He put some pressure on the NFL to say, hey, what's going on? And we need insurance. We need coverage for players. We need this to be a developmental league ASAP. And the NFL was not ready at that time. They needed to look through it more clearly and had more options. So the NFL, the AAF just folded. Man, they could have survived on their own. Somebody made some mistakes there.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes was trying to get the NFL involved. I believe once they started to speak the NFL's name, they're like, that is when they started to go downhill fast. Whether you want to admit it or not, the NFL has some huge pull. If they want you out, they're going to get you out. We saw that, back in the day when there were what is that? Was it the UFL with back in the 60s or 70s, I think it was. They quickly shut that other rival league down as well. So I think once the AAF said, "Hey, NFL, we want to be your minor league system," the NFL doesn't need a minor league system. That's what college football is for. Why do they need to sink their money into a minor league system when they get it for free through the college system? So they quickly
You're 100% right. Also, the money is too big now. These players make too much money. Like, in other words, just give you the Cowboys example or the Texans example. If Cooper Rush, which I don't believe in, by the way, I don't like Cooper Rush at all in terms of quarterback. He's okay. I want to see what Mike White can do for Western Kentucky. I think I'd rather see Mike White in the preseason for the Cowboys than Cooper Rush. But A.J. McCarron also is the backup for the Texans now. If they allow A.J. McCarron, the Texans, or Cooper Rush or Mike White to start an AAF league in terms of be their starting quarterback, and then Mike White, second play of the game, gets his ACL torn, or Cooper Rush, now the Cowboys and A.J. McCarron, same thing. If A.J. McCarron gets his knee blown out, first play of the game for the San Antonio franchise, now the Texans are without a backup quarterback now. A.J. McCarron is done. He tore his ACL. Cooper Rush is done. He tore his ACL playing AAF football. And I think that's a risk the NFL did not want to take.
Yeah, I mean, if you truly think about it, there are so many quote-unquote minor league teams that are working for the NFL that the NFL are like that are not paying them. I own a indoor football team here in Louisville, Kentucky, and probably 40% of my players have dreams and aspirations of making it to the NFL. So they are in the gym consistently, working hard, putting product on the field for change. Let's be honest, and just the dreams to get seen by a NFL team. And the NFL gets that minor league system for free, so they don't need the AAF. So the AAF, I hope they come back. I don't think they will, because the XFL is scheduled to come back in 2020, and I think they are learning from their past mistakes. They learn from the AAF mistakes, and if the XFL just stays on the XFL, they're on their train. They keep their head down. Don't mention the NFL. They're going to be okay, because at the end of the day, those players want to make it to the NFL. They're going to work just as hard to get there.
And I don't understand what Tom Dunn was doing. He sunk $250 million in the league. They could have survived on its own. Yeah. Now he's going to lose that money. I mean, he just wanted to waste $250 million. It doesn't make sense to me. That's why I think there's a chance it could come back without the NFL at all. Right. I think he put a lot of pressure on the NFL. It may not, but I'm hoping it comes back. I don't know why a billionaire businessman who makes smart business decisions would stick $250 million into a league that's going to fold, a month later.
Right.
It's weird to me.
And if he just wants to give away $250 million, I could use $2 or $3 million here.
Yeah, sure.
So feel free to Western Union me about $2 million, and I'll fold up operations or something here. So we've hit on the Final Four a little bit. We've hit on the NBA, a little AAF. Let's swing back here to the NCAA basketball tournament here. Let's flash back to November 12th, 2018, 7 o'clock at night. I'm going to give you 4 teams: Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, and North Carolina. If I told you those 4 teams, would you say they will be in the Final Four or they'll be out?
I would say all 4 of those teams would at least make it to the Elite 8, and possibly all 4 of them in the Final Four. Kansas had a big injury.
Yep.
Was the problem why they didn't make it.
And they had one of their second best player quit in the middle of the year too, Vic.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, yeah. So they had problems, and then P.J. Washington getting hurt for Kentucky, that didn't help at all. So, yeah, even though he did come back for the game, did he look right to you? Did he look like the same player? Or was he giving did that look like P.J. Washington, or did he look a little hampered to you?
I am a Kentucky fan, and both of our big men got hurt late in the year. Reed Travis hurt his knee. Believe it was a third or fourth game to go in the season. PJ hurt his ankle. Actually, I don't even know what his injury was. It was so hush hush. It was anything from a broken foot to a sprained ankle to a ligament tear. We don't know what was wrong with him, to be honest with you. But yeah, he did not seem as explosive. He seemed like you could see when he jumped, he would land on his left foot only and not both feet.
Okay.
So I definitely feel like he was hindered a tad bit. Did it affect us to lose it? I can't say that because Auburn, like you said, they're a team on a mission.
Yeah, I wanted your perspective on that. I knew you're a Kentucky fan. Also, when I was watching, the Kentucky game, I wanted your perspective again. Let me ask you a question. Down the stretch, they were going exclusively to PJ. I thought they should have gone to Travis a little more. And I thought that Tyler Hero, he's one of those guys that he can make big game shots. I don't think he's afraid of the moment. And I thought that he didn't really, if you watch the last 5 minutes, he put up 1 or 2 shots. I thought they should have ran him off some screens and got him open. That guy can shoot. He's not afraid of the moment. He's not one of those kids that's going to seek and cower down to those moments, and he's a freshman. And, you're probably going to lose him after this year. I mean, for your sake, I hope not, because I think this guy could be an All-American next year easily, first or second team. And at 6'5", the way he can shoot it, kind of like the new age Rex Chapman, I think he's going to do well in the NBA, and I think he's going to be a late first-round pick because of those intangibles I just talked about. He's got some spring in his legs. I thought Kentucky should have gone to him a little bit down the stretch. It seems like they faded away from him. He's a freshman, yeah, whatever. But I thought Travis not getting the ball and Tyler Hero not getting the ball, I think kind of hurt Kentucky. I know Washington came through big, but they went to Washington exclusively, it seems like. And I thought, they should have got the ball to the other guys.
Yeah, let me give you a little bit of insight here, since I am a Kentucky fan. Tyler Hero was guarding their best shooter all game. So I kind of feel like toward the end of the game, his legs may have been gone. He may have been tired a tad bit. But just to your point there, yes, this kid has ice in his veins. He hit that big shot to send the game into overtime. It was the elite. It was a Sweet 16 game. He hit a big 3-point shot to basically ice it like ice the game. And my whole family like, hey, don't shoot that. Okay, good.
Right.
I feel like he is a kid that kind of had a leash on him all season. He wants to drive and shoot, and he wants to be the focal point. But Cal is the kind of guy that says, "Hey, PJ is our guy. Give the ball to PJ, and then you are the secondary option." And I feel that is what happened in that Elite 8 game, because PJ has been our man all season. From the months of January until early March, he was averaging 20 plus points a game. I believe he was averaging a double-double, to be honest. He was, 20 to 25 points a game, 10 boards, a few assists here or there. He even had a couple block shots. He was he was probably the best player in the country for that stretch for that 12 game stretch.
Right.
But for us to go to him at the end of the game, I agree what we did, because he has been there before. He is a quote veteran on the team as a sophomore. That's just the way it is at Kentucky. So. But at the biggest thing that we ran into was PJ misses foul shots again. It happened last year in the Sweet 16 game versus Kansas State. He missed 16 foul shots in that Sweet 16 game. So Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, he was 5 for 12 from the foul.
He's too good of a shooter to be missing those like that. His shot is not broken. I don't know why he misses so many.
I don't know if his butthole gets puckered in the crunch times or what, but he is. I think they said he was like a 63% foul shooter. Very, very low for that quality of player. I think he should definitely be up in the 70s, even 80s. Yeah. So with all that being said, I think he is going to go to the NBA still. He will not be a lottery pick like they kind of projected him earlier in the year. He'll fall down to 20th or so.
He's a late first round pick, Michael. And the problem with Kentucky though next year, I know you guys are probably getting a good recruiting class next year, which is obviously they usually get a good or great one every year. But I think the NBA scouts are going to come back with a first round grade on Tyler Hero. Once Tyler Hero goes through workouts and they see he can jump, catch, shoot, like I said, like a new version of Rex Chapman, I think he's going to get a first-round grade by NBA scouts, and I don't know if he can pass that up. You might lose Tyler Hero also.
Oh, yeah. Tyler Hero is 100% gone. He is a volume shooter player. He wants to shoot the three. He wants to, beat you off the bounce like a few times here or there. He would be perfect in a Golden State Warriors uniform and be a backup to Steph or Clay, because
absolutely.
He is just like them. To be honest with you, I know this is not a Kentucky show. We do that later in the week here, but I feel we lose all 5 of our starters either because Reed is graduating, and it wouldn't surprise me if Reed Travis ends up in the NBA somewhere. He's a good thick body that can give you 12, 15 minutes in a game. And really wear out the opponents. If
Travis was playing on the Spurs and we were playing OKC, I'd send him at Adams.
Yeah,
he'd be a good matchup for Steven Adams and DeAndre Jordan and guys like that. I think he can bang with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope Reed Travis does make it into the NBA. He is a kid that you love him when he's on your team, but you hate him when he's on the team. He reminds me of Hansbrough from North Carolina from a couple years ago. And I don't know if Hansbrough is in the NBA still or not, but I know he did for a couple years.
No, Tyler Hansbrough played in the NBA for a few years.
Yeah.
So
I don't know
wasn't
if
a
he's
complete bust or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But so back to your original question, I do think PJ did not quite. He definitely wasn't 100% by any means. I believe it was the pregame interview. Cal said he didn't even do shoot around because he was hurting, just like that much. So, with that being said, it sucks, but it is what it is. So let me ask you the same thing about Duke, because Cam Reddish was on the bench to start the game with a supposed left knee injury, but then he came in really quick and played most of the game. Do you think that was really a injury, or did he do something bad, like in the hotel or something that got him in trouble?
That is a mystery to me because, why would he not play in the Sweet 16 game, right? He missed it.
Yeah, and so, I don't think he played any minutes in the Sweet 16 game.
Yeah, he missed it. That is weird. What kind of injury? And then you're back, 40 hours later warming up. So I don't understand that at all. Had to have been something conduct detrimental to team, but they're not going to release that because these are kids. And if Mike Krzyzewski releases something like that, I'm just going to tell you right now, other kids will look at that and go, man, he might out me out.
Right.
That's the way kids are today. And I may not want to go to Duke and be a one and done if he badmouthed Cam Reddish, so Cam probably did something silly and Mike thought it was with reason enough to hold him out of a Sweet 16 game. That sounds kind of serious to me, but yeah. And then he didn't play well in the Elite Eight. And he's a better shooter than that. And yeah. I don't know how many shots he made, but he disappeared. It was Zion and RJ Barrett. And Cam Reddish, I think, hurt his NBA stock big time because I thought this kid, is a 6'8", multi-dimensional player, can shoot it with the best of them, like a Chris Middleton, like with the Milwaukee Bucks. And I didn't see it from Cam Reddish. And I still think Cam's going to go in the first round because once he goes through the workouts and all that, they're going to see his athleticism and they're going to see him make 23s in a row in a workout and he's going to wow people. He'll probably, be at the end of the lottery or right outside the lottery, but he disappeared. I'm not mad at RJ and Zion. Cam Reddish disappeared, and that's probably why they lost the Elite Eight, amongst some other things. But yeah, Cam Reddish disappeared, and that's a mystery to me. I don't think it was an injury because he looked okay, but he did look tentative. But man, that's weird. I'd like to know what happened, injury or discipline.
Yeah, and just to stay on Duke here, they had the number one recruiting class. They arguably had the top 3 players in the NBA draft as well. For just depending on where you put that giant guy from Murray State. Do you think Coach K is overrated because he did not win the championship with these top 3 players?
Absolutely not at all. Coach K is a great coach. It's not easy just getting everybody to come together and win a championship with a bunch of freshmen. The Fab Five didn't do it, did they? No.
Nope.
So they didn't even win the championship the following year when they were all veteran sophomores. So no, this is not an easy thing to do. You just take a bunch of 3 top lottery picks and say, oh, let's go win a championship. You're playing against teams that have some veteran leadership, like a Cassius Winston. It's a strong, heady player from Michigan State that's been around, and I don't think he's overrated at all. How many championships has he won? He's won like 5. So
plus
a
gold medal. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's no way that Coach K is overrated. It's just something that's not easy to do, to take a collection of talent and just win that first year right off the bat. I'll tell you what, this will not happen. Just give you a hypothetical. If they were to stay with that team and remain intact, Duke would probably win it next year because they'd be, seasoned veterans and sophomores. And so they'd have a good chance of winning it. But they're obviously not going to stay, I
would go out on a limb and say they would go 40-0. Because it is something about playing with your teammate for a year. You're like, hey, I see that look in his eye. He's going to cut two of the basket. So it's just playing with each other for like an extra year. It's just they would be unstoppable, I think, especially in the college game. But just to add to your point, as a freshman here, I mean, it is also something to say when you're 17, 8 years. And 18 years old, playing against a grown man, 23, 24 years old. I mean, like, yes, they're both in college, whatever, but a 24-year-old body is a lot better than an 18-year-old body. Like, I don't care how big you are. Right. I don't care if you're Zion, you are 6'8", 280. When you're up against a 23, 24-year-old that has been in a grind of a college season for 4 or 5 years, their body is definitely more capable of going further, winning that game. So I think that was the biggest downfall for Duke, was just they were just so young and they hit that freshman wall. I mean, you can say what you want to say about it. They all play AAU ball, they play high school ball, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A grind of a college season when you're not used to it, it is tough. Even as a football player, I mean, like I played football. I played both ways in high school. I played from the kickoff to the final snap, and at the end of the game, in a college game, I was tired. Like, I was wore out. About week 8, I was done. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to play anymore. Like, just because you're that tired and that wore out. So I think that's why we're seeing Duke and Kentucky not in the Final Four, is because they hit that wall, to be honest.
Yeah, no, Michigan State was much more seasoned. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
And
like I said,
and Michigan State doesn't even have their best player. He got hurt with ACL back in January.
Yeah,
So,
but you also see how talented Duke was, that they pushed a veteran team like, and I want to say veteran. I mean, they have some sophomores on the team as well. They're not totally veterans, but they pushed Michigan State all the way to the end. So I mean, they're a pretty darn good team. The freshmen, I think Mike Krzyzewski did an okay job. I don't think he's overrated at all. I mean, they just happened to, the ball didn't bounce their way, and they could have lost to Central Florida, and
wouldn't that have been the upset of the century?
Yeah,
Taco Falls versus Zion, and
yeah, no,
that game was hyped
and
up.
Dawkins, the coach's son, just went crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Duke's final 3 or 4 games here, and it seemed like every game ended in the same way. They beat Wake Forest because Wake Forest missed a layup. They beat UCF because they missed a layup, and then they beat somebody else earlier because of a layup as lock as well. Like I think that is crazy, like how that works out in the end. But that's all we got for today, guys. Marcus, thanks for coming on, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Michael.
Any closing thoughts from you?
No, just going to the NBA game tonight, San Antonio versus Atlanta Hawks. Oh. I get to see little Trae Young from Oklahoma, Rookie of the Year candidate. He and Doncic are going at it for Rookie of the Year. Trae Young's made some buzzer beaters in the past month that is nice to watch. Doncic has probably had the better year so far, but Trae Young is closing in on this Rookie of the Year. It could be the Rookie of the Years for the first time since 1994, where Grant Hill did it with Jason Kidd. That's possible. Doncic and Young are both deserving of Rookie of the Year, and I'll be in my seat here, San Antonio Spurs versus the Atlanta Hawks tonight, to watch little Trae Young.
There you go. Yeah, I become a Trae Young hater because he destroyed my Kansas State Wildcats when he was with Oklahoma quite often. He's averaging 30-some points in college. It was ridiculous. But guys, we are out.
Thanks, Michael. And anybody wants to find me, it's author Marcus Valdespino on Facebook and Marcus the Freak on my Twitter handle. I just entered the Twitter world. I've just never really been into Twitter, but I just entered the Twitter world, Michael. So I'll be on there, Marcus the Freak at Twitter.
Next show, I'll be sure to have it on the next show, I'm sure to have that on screen, just so people know. Be sure to be guys. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That'd be fantastic. If you're listening to us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc., be sure to consider subscribing to that podcast as well. Leave a ranking. But nonetheless, guys, we are out, and have a great day.
See ya.